Am I the asshole for telling my stepdaughter to stop cooking in the middle of the night?
I 34M and my wife 40F live with her two kids 13M and 18F and her daughter's boyfriend who's also 18.
My wife and I work 9-5 and my stepson goes to school 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. He's on summer break now.
I take turn cooking with my wife. One day I'll cook dinner and the next day she'll cook, just to keep it balanced for the both of us since we get pretty tired after work. We always make sure to have leftovers ready for lunch the next day so the kids can heat it up in the microwave and have something to eat when we're not home.
On the weekends I do yard work and wash the vehicle. My wife cleans the house instead.
This has been working fine for us so far. Last week I approached my stepdaughter and asked her if she could go easy on the cooking in the middle of the night because we're trying to make the food last. She seemed to have understood what I told her, but I noticed things didn't change and she keeps cooking in the middle of the night and also during the day, even though we make sure to leave plenty of cooked food which everyone in the house eats. My wife agrees with me and told her if she gets hungry during the day or night she can make herself a sandwich or have cereal if anything. It doesn't help the fact that she doesn't wash any of the dishes after she cooks, so when we get home from work we have to wash a bunch of plates, pots and utensils on top of the ones used for the meals we already prepare for them.
Today my stepson got into an argument with his sister because he found her at 9 a.m. cooking the steaks for the family barbecue tomorrow. She was searing them on the stove, which caused a small grease fire on the burner. I don't know what the heck she did, which caused the smoke detector to go off.
Apparently her boyfriend was craving steaks and they forgot they were supposed to be for the barbecue. Nobody believes that since we were planning it for the past 3 days. I'm pretty upset that she cooks all the food at night or during the day, but at the same time I don't like having to tell people they shouldn't eat when they're hungry. It doesn't feel morally right to say that. My wife said I wasn't being unreasonable and she agrees that there should be rules when it comes to cooking and making the food last. She brought up a valid point when she mentioned that me and her are the only ones paying for all the house expenses as we're the only people working. I grew up borderline starving and I always told myself I was never going to allow my family to go hungry. 8th. Edit, typos and grammar.
Not the asshole. I am not sure about your financial situation or if they contribute to the house in any way, so it is harder to judge. But cooking steaks at 9 a.m.? You also say that there's always food in the fridge and that they insist in cooking anyway. To me this does not seem to be a situation in that they are going hungry and you're refusing to give them food. This is lack of consideration for the rest of the family. Now clearly talking isn't working. If they refuse to listen to you and consume the food however and whenever, they should start paying for groceries themselves.
If they have to pay for the groceries for the whole family for a few months, I am sure they will learn to be more mindful pretty fast.
Edit, typo and rewriting sentence for clarity. Not the asshole. Your stepdaughter and her boyfriend should have to start buying their own food. Or start contributing to the grocery money. They didn't forget what the steaks were for. They wanted them, so they got them.
Why not?
No consequences.
They don't have to pay for them.
Steaks at 9 a.m.
Small grease fire.
Late night cooking.
Does your stepdaughter have the munchies?
If she's on weed it would explain a lot. Not the asshole. I would be clear with her that food in the house for meals have been planned ahead of time by the people who purchased it.
If there is a question, she can ask if she can cook it, but other than that, she needs to stick to the already made food, snacks, sandwiches, etc., and that if she wants to cook, she needs to ask permission or buy her own stuff. Also,
cleanup is non-negotiable.
If she doesn't clean up, she's not allowed to cook a big meal. It's definitely reasonable to have rules about which food is planned and allocated to meals versus which food is available for use for someone who is hungry.
If there's no explicit rule, then ask if there's a lot of it.
That 50 pounds bag of rice?
Yes, you can use some.
You've got a dozen cans of beans in the pantry?
Use some.
Eggs?
Use some.
Steaks in the fridge? Nope, there aren't many of them, and they have a short life, so were likely bought for a specific purpose. Someone got something out of the freezer to defrost?
Leave it alone, they're planning on cooking it. No cooking at night isn't necessarily reasonable, but it's certainly reasonable to expect her to clean up after herself. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Your stepdaughter and her boyfriend can get jobs, even part-time, to help with putting food on the table. Are either of them going to college? Or they can buy the food that she makes at night.
This will help stretch the budget at their ages. They should be working anyway. They're adults.
Am I the asshole for refusing to help with my 21 female sister's 23 female baby in the middle of the night? I, 21 female, am a college student and live with my family still.
Last year my family moved into a slightly smaller house, and because my sister and I were gone all the time anyway, me with college, and her with work and staying at her boyfriend's house, we agreed that we'd share the biggest bedroom. And it wasn't going to be a long-term thing, especially since we're both getting to the age where it's time to fly the co-op. I would have by now, but I'm in nursing school and can't juggle a full-time job to support myself simultaneously.
It wasn't a big deal,
especially since we'd really only have to occasionally be in there together during the summertime. However, in the fall my sister ended up getting pregnant with her boyfriend.
She said her and the boyfriend were going to figure it out.
It's a little complicated since he, 25 male, still lives with his mom and her and him live an hour apart. His mom wanted her to move in because they have the space for her and baby, but his mom smokes in the house so it wasn't a viable option. So they spent months trying to figure it out, but neither of them were willing to compromise and move and get an apartment in one city or the other. Until literally a week before she was scheduled to be induced. My sister agreed that she'd be willing to move to his city and get an apartment there together. However, that week came quickly and baby was born. A month later and she still lives here and he still lives an hour away, and only comes to see them 3 days a week. During that time I am expected to get out of my own bedroom and crash on the couch, which is ridiculous to me, but.
And when he's not here, my sister gets so unbelievably angry at me for not getting up at 1 a.m. to feed and change her child. She claims that it's selfish of me to not, since she hardly gets sleep as it is and it helps her out a lot. I've done it a handful of times, but it exhausts me and I remembered that I am young and childless. I'll help during the day, but I am not losing sleep when I wasn't the one to decide to have a child while ill-prepared. She's angry at me for it, which I can kind of understand because we are her support system. But I shouldn't have to change more of my life, getting kicked out of my bedroom, losing sleep, than the baby's father does. And it seems like my generosity is being taken advantage of because neither of them seem to be in a rush to get out. Am I the asshole, eh? Not the asshole, and the fact that no one else in your family is standing up for you is disheartening. Are there any friends you have that you might be able to crash with for a month? That you can frame to your sister as you? Kindly giving her space while she organizes and packs to move out? Good luck, and whatever you do, do not get sucked into being a parent on account of her mistakes. Not the asshole one bit. And when he's not here, my sister gets so unbelievably angry at me for not getting up at 1 a.m. to feed and change her child. She claims that it's selfish of me to not. That's a ridiculous level of entitlement. Even more so when you're sleeping on the couch. I'll help during the day, but I am not losing sleep when I wasn't the one to decide to have a child while ill-prepared. Flawless argument advanced right there. And it's kind of you to help it all. Get earplugs so you can't hear the baby cry at night. Not your baby, not your problem. Not the asshole, she made a choice to become a parent, so she has to take care of her baby. And yes, that is exhausting, but it is also part of being a new parent. If she needs help, she has the father of the child to turn to. She is not entitled to your help, and you need your sleep to focus on school. Not the asshole. The level of entitlement she has for you to change your life around to accommodate her decision is unbelievably selfish. Her and boyfriend had 9 months to figure it out and they pushed it off till the last mite. That's their baby and you should be doing more than the father when you are your own life. Lack of planning on her part doesn't constitute an emergency on yours. Woman shrugging. Not the asshole, you should not be giving up the room when her boyfriend visits. Nor are you responsible for her child. Help is a bonus. She needs to take responsibility for her mistakes or poorly laid plans. Am I the asshole for declined my stepdad's call when they couldn't find me at my stepbrother's wedding? I, 27F, was at my stepbrother's, 29M, wedding a couple of days ago. For some context, my mum, 59F, and his dad, 57M, have been together for 10+ years at this point. My stepbrother even included my mum in the family photos at the wedding and thanked her for looking after his dad in his speech. I could not be happier for her, as this meant a lot to her. However, I was not included in family photos. This hurt me a little, but it was his and his now wife's day, so I'm not going to complain, and I certainly would never bring it up to them or anyone else other than my partner. Especially not to my mum, who was so shocked and happy that she was included. Anyways, this leads on to the matter at hand. My stepdad was talking to the bride's mother later in the night whilst I was sat near them, half listening and bopping along to the music. The bride's mum says to him that it's lovely to have my stepbrother in the family and that now she has 4 children instead of 2. Both her daughters are now married. This is when my stepdad turned around and said that he feels the same and he is very proud of his 4. My 2 stepbrother and both their wives. This instantly felt like a dagger to my gut. I should probably add that my mum's previous partner said to my face as a 7-year-old that he never wanted to be a father to me when I asked if I could get him a Father's Day card. Plus my own father left when I was 2 and was abusive, for context as to why this hurt me so much, and my mum started questioning if I was okay. I said I was fine and to leave it, but she kept badgering me and then asked me if I had been eavesdropping when I shouldn't have been. I barely nodded when she said she had heard it too and said that it hurt her too, but that he hadn't been thinking. Her comforting me set me off with tears that I'd been trying hard to keep in, so I got up and said I was going outside for some air. I went outside and walked a little bit away and had a cry to myself. I even sat on a swing at the small play park near and in eyesight of the hotel. When I got myself together, I was walking back when my stepdad rang me. I could see him and mum in front of the hotel. He then rang me and I waved and declined the call, but they did not see me. My mum questioned me when I did walk back inside the hotel, asking if I declined the call, to which I replied yes. She then told me that was a stupid thing to do. I tried to explain that I could see them and waved at them, but she said they could not see me. The next morning, my stepdad did apologize and say he messed up, but I'm still a little upset. I've not said anything to my mum about how I'm feeling cause I know she will just tell me to move on and let it go. Am I the asshole? Should I have just answered the phone? Was I being petty? Should I just let it go? Not the asshole. In the heat of the moment, it's understandable that you might not be in the mood to talk to him and still need some time to work through your feelings. As the hurt party, communications happens on your time frame, not your stepfather's. And anyone who truly cares about you and your feelings will understand that you will need time to work through it, and not just tell you to let it go. Not the asshole. Also, with regards to your mother's questioning if you were eavesdropping, no, you weren't. The man was having a conversation in a public place loud enough that anyone within hearing range could hear. Your mother is gross asking you that. Not the asshole. Did you notice how your mom made everything worse? Was it because she knew how bad it has been for you with the men she chose, and that she has never stood up for you and demand they respect and honor you? She showed you that she wasn't going to this time either. She seems to put all the pressure on you to suck it up and smooth things over. You don't have to. Your mother's goals don't have to be yours. You are allowed to feel what you feel and to not make it all better for everyone else. I kinda hate everyone for you. I think you could use some therapy to untangle your childhood and figure out how to deal with your family going forward. Not the asshole. IDK, why people who hurt someone always expect the hurt party to give forgiveness and get over things on the timeline of the person who did the hurting. Your mom had to know you weren't okay, and instead of consoling you and ripping her husband a new asshole, she's making this like it's your fault. You get to take all the time you need. And if your mom and stepdad don't get that, then they never cared about you to begin with. ETA, mistakenly called stepdad dad. You weren't eavesdropping, you were sitting at the same table and they were having a public discussion in front of you. Overhearing is not the same as eavesdropping. Your mom is the she has kept choosing men who are absolute jerks to her child. Your stepdad sucks, and you have nothing to apologize for. So don't. I would absolutely take him at his word. He doesn't view you as family, so I wouldn't treat him as anything other than your mother's husband. He gets zero privileges as your stepdad. You are worth so much more than either of them have ever given you. Not the asshole. Not the asshole, you have every right to be upset and hurt. Am I the asshole for hosting events outside of my house because of a service dog? Edit, because I explained it horribly. I want to thank you, Agreeable League 366, for allowing me to use their comment to clear out the confusion I caused for a lot of people. Edit 2. I'm seeing several comments saying I should have told her beforehand. The thought of telling her that she and her dog aren't welcome anymore
Therefore no one else in the group just feels mean, but if anyone has suggestions on how I can word that for future references, feel free to do so.
I don't like dogs, never been fond of them, but I don't judge people who have dogs as long as they are responsible. I have a group of friends and we like to host events at our houses like parties, potlucks, game night, etc.
About 2 months ago, my friend got a service dog for her seizures and I was already planning on hosting a potluck, but I didn't want a dog in my house. She sheds a lot, so I decided to choose a camping area where we can all have fun and enjoy, since it would be so fucked up to deny my friend from coming over with a dog that she needs. This has been going on ever since my friend, let's call her Sarah, got a service dog. Today was my turn to host and one of my friends, say, Jacob, suggested we do a game night.
I told them that I would rather have events outside of my house and, well, we don't have anything to connect my PS4 outside with. I suggested maybe we can do a movie night instead and go out to the movies.
Jacob was confused and asked why I stopped doing game night at my house, and I explained that I don't want animals. I'm so sorry, I said, pets. That was wrong of me. I didn't catch that. In my house. Let alone a dog that sheds. No one batted an eye, but Sarah started to question me, like if she's no longer welcome in my house, if I am ableist, and I told her that I would rather host things outside of my house if she's going to need a service dog. The times we all spend together are arranged in advance.
I chose to do things away from my house so that I wouldn't have to have the dog in my house.
If I had the type of arrangement that meant coming over to my house, I would make myself put up with a hairy situation, but I don't have to in this current arrangement. Sarah was not having it and started to call me ableist and unfair to her and her dog, that I've changed ever since she had her service dog, and I was baffled about everything she was saying.
We ended up not hosting anything, and it ended up being so awkward that everybody started to leave the group call. I honestly can't tell if I should be ashamed of myself. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Your home is not a public space. You are not legally or morally required to allow a dog into your home under any circumstances. I thought the outside party sounded like a great compromise. Not the asshole.
There is nothing about, I don't want a dog that sheds in my house, that says ableist and discriminatory.
If it was just her pet, you would say the same thing.
Maybe she is projecting because the behaviors of others have changed.
Not the asshole. I didn't want a dog in my house.
That's it.
It's your home. And she needs to look up what ableism actually is. Hosting events outside your house is not ableism. Face with rolling eyes.
My friends only come over if I'm hosting something, but if they did come over to my house just to hang out, then yay, I'd put up with having a dog in my house. What does this mean?
Are you against dogs in the house or not?
Not the asshole. Your house is not a public place, so you are not obliged to accommodate service animals.
You also acknowledge that this dog is a necessity for your friend.
You try to do your best without having to ban your friend with her service dog from events.
I think she is being too much, calling you names cuz you don't want a dog in your house.
Dogs shed. They leave smell when rubbing against furniture or rugs. Their nails can scratch floors.
I have a dog and I know how much cleaning is required to keep my house from smelling and fur from forming a rug on the floor.